Hello, welcome everybody to the National Reentry Network for Returning Citizens, or the Black Table Talk Edition. Here we are with another episode, and we are talking about what prison and jail is like. And I have a few friends with me that we'll be discussing this topic about. We have Mr. Jonah Smith, we have Mr. Foster Sellers, and
Hello.
we have Mr. Joseph Washington, and myself, Travis Register. So without further ado, we're gonna dive right off into this thing because we got a lot to cover, and we're gonna start right now.
Yes, as Mr. Register said, today's topic is what prison and jail is really like. And we have a special guest today, Mr. Washington. And we will thank you. I would like to ask you first, how do the pains of imprisonment influence how inmates behave?
How does the pains?
Yes.
Very dramatic. It's hurtful. It's sad. It makes people act like what society would call animals. We do things, we act out of character. Excuse my profanity, feces at one another as police. We get rowdy, we fight, we argue. This is mine. Don't you come near. Don't you touch it. We get very violent. We get real arrogant, and it all goes back to before we even went into prison. So once you lock me up like an animal, I got no other source reason but to act like an animal because you put me in that situation. So the hurt and the pain is there.
Yes, I do understand what you're saying. So how do you deal with that level of trauma?
I'm a closed book inside. My business is my business. You stay out of my business. I'm a closed book, and I shut down. And as I get into my what we call a bit, I begin to cut my family off because I don't need them. I don't want them in my life inside of there because I'm not sure if I'm ever going to come out. I want to come out, but I'm not sure if I will. But I'm not promised the next day. So it hurts being inside of it. It's lonely. You understand? It's gloomy. And what I mean by gloomy is dark. And dark, you can feel it. You can feel the tension. Just being around dudes who just don't care about themselves or no one else. They just want to make it one day at a time. If they manage to make it one day at a time. And that's being real with you.
So you just talked about making it one day at a time. Can you explain to us, those of us who may not know, what it's like to like a day in life in prison?
You get up at about 4 o'clock in the morning. You go to chow by 4:30. That's breakfast. Usually cold. Depends if you're at the jail, detention center, or in the federal system. In the jail, it's usually cold on a tray. And it's usually the same thing we have every other day. And you get frustrated with that because you're tired of eating the same garbage every day. But we do what we gotta do in order to survive. Even if you don't gotta eat, and I'll take your tray. So once you're in a federal system, you're up at 4. You go to work by 4:30, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, depends on where you're working at. You do your shift, you go to lunch, you eat lunch, you go back to work, you get off work, you either go to the rec yard, the library, the gym, or somewhere else to do some type of activity just to keep you sane. That's what I had to do. I had to do something to keep me sane for 33 years.
Yes, I hear your pain and the trauma that you've experienced in jail, and I would say, since your experience, what are some strategies that you would say that you would recommend to reduce the violence, the riots, the sexual assaults in prison?
I think the most important thing is to get you an education. What I mean by that, I went to prison in 1984. I didn't get my GED until 1991. I didn't know how to read. I didn't know nothing about me. I didn't know nothing about anything on math. I quit school when I was in the 7th grade. So I finally got a GED in 1991, and that was the happiest day of my life. I mean, really, really happy just to get a daggone GED. And it took me 3 times to get it. So I learned how to read. I stayed in the library. I stayed in the gym. I went to work out. I studied. I stayed in the library. I stayed in the gym. I learned how to do computers. Uh, I started getting involved with different religious organizations. I want to learn. I want to learn about God, how other people worship God. I tried to learn Spanish, so I know how to deal with other I became somewhat sociable. I dealt with people. I treated people how I wanted to be treated. And that's another reason why I made it this far.
Exactly. I see your persistence has paid off. I want to talk about what makes prison games so appealing to inmates.
Fear, fear. I'm going to join a clique or a gang so that you can protect me because I'm afraid of what that big guy or those dudes over there might do to me. So I'm going to join some type of organization to keep me safe, to keep you from running in my room and doing something to me or from taking my commissary. So I got you watching my back. But when it's time to come to war, you better go to war because they're going to be looking for you to be on the front line. So I urge a lot of people that's coming in the system, don't get involved in this stuff. Be yourself. Mind your business. Do your bit. You ain't got to join this organization or that organization or that gang or this gang for what? What are you going to get out of it? They're not going to be there for you all the time. Anytime you get switched to another institution quickly, then what you going to do?
Then it comes back. It comes a difference though, because us in Washington, we don't have gangs.
Yeah, we don't have.
We might roll with neighborhoods. We don't have gangs. We're not jumped in. You know, if you're in that neighborhood, that you grew up in that neighborhood, so you automatically part of the clique. But you talking about other parts of the country, like in the Midwest, not going out to the West, and pretty much all over the country now. You got people who grew up in gangs. They grew up. Their family members was Bloods. Their family members was Crips. Latin Kings, all these other gangs they have. So it was a lifestyle. It wasn't. So in prison, if you it was of a certain set out there in the neighborhoods wherever they was from, then you won't be a part of that same set in prison. So it's not always about fear. It's also a culture as well, a culture that we don't understand because we don't have gangs. So, but recruiting was a part of that when you're in prison. You know, they play on their fear. You want to be protected. We see that you're independent. You really don't roll with anybody. You want to be a blood? Okay, then this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to give you a rule book. We're going to jump you in. And we expect for you to be on the front line because you are new. You have to show your loyalty unto us. Yeah. And showing that you are worthy. And if not, okay, then this is what the consequences are going to be. Are you faking? Okay, you're going to get punished for being faking. If they're compassionate enough, they'll let you live and send you up top, meaning send you to a PC, protective custody. But if you're who you say you are, throughout the years, you can roll up in rank. So it's not always about fear. That's one aspect of it, like Joseph was saying. But if you don't come from that culture, we're not going to understand it. Us being in the feds, going from DC, and then we lost our facilities, and they put us into the feds. We understood a lot of other cultures and lifestyle outside of ours. For a long time, we thought we was the only men on the face of the planet.
That's right.
Wasn't nobody more thorough than us or anything. You know what I mean? We are who we are. When we went to the feds, it was like, okay, we gonna be us. Y'all gonna bow down to us because man, we the most thorough. We the 300.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
right.
when you get an understanding about what Bloods are, what Crips are, what Latin King, what Tango Blast, you know all these different Border Brothers, you know all of the Pisces, all these different gangs from white, black to Hispanics and even Chinese gangs if they have a lot. So you know you got to understand. So sometimes it's by fear, sometimes it's by culture.
Yeah, to dive a little bit deeper into that, it seems like your mind would either be lost or the cerebral part of what you're thinking, right? How do you control the mind and the warfare that's going on in your mind with that level of gang activity?
I mean, like me and Joseph, man, we didn't have to worry about being part of no gang because they consider DC as a gang anyway.
They consider us DC blacks. They
DC,
consider us a gang.
Can you talk a little more? Can you talk a little more about that? Because I think the average person in the street or members of our audience have no idea what you mean when you say DC doesn't have any gangs.
We don't have gangs. We have crews and neighborhoods.
Okay, so there are large groups of people who act in organized fashion and are up to no good, but they're not called gangs. They're called
not even in organized fashion.
So there you go. Tell us more.
The people that you grew up with in the neighborhood, y'all brotherhood, y'all protect y'all neighborhood. Nowadays, it's in violent acts. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. You know, it's not that you have a book of rules that you go by and you get jumped in. You gotta wear these colors, and you get disciplined if you act outside of what the gang groups set of rules is, nah, we are crews. That's just a group of people, man. We move in one unit, not necessarily by a set of rules and things of that manner. It's just that by neighborhood. It's a brotherhood. We grew up in the neighborhoods, and the ones that come behind us, they grew up in the same thing, so they're still part of 640. You know?
And that's real. That's real. If a DC dude hits the compound off the break, when you go in the chow hall, they got a DC area over there where the DC guys sit at. We not with that gang stuff. That's not us. We got crews in neighborhood. Well, he grew up in Southeast. I grew up in Northwest. But when I hit prison, I'm from DC. You get me? That's why we're considered a gang, because we always together. You hit one, you hit all of them.
See, what they don't understand in the feds is it's different from the state. Whether you run with DC or not, you can be from DC, but you say, man, I'm Christian. Or, man, I'm Muslim. But when it comes down to war, it's, oh, he from DC. It's not that he's Christian. It's not that he's Muslim. Oh, he from DC. So it doesn't matter. Everybody's red light. And you don't have to be from a gang in Georgia. It's geographical locations that band together. So you got a Georgia, they call them cars. You got a Georgia car. You got North Carolina, South Carolina car. They run together. You have Indiana car. If there's not a lot of people from Indiana, they might join together with Illinois. So you got white boys. They got the dirty white boys. They got the skinny heads. They got the low riders. They got so many of them. They got independents. You know, they got outlaws and things of that matter. So even the so-called independents is a sort of a crew because they got to band together and protect themselves too if war comes out. You have people who have sex offenders. Right. They have a car. Everybody is in a car. Everybody has a car. Everybody has a car. Everybody has a shot caller. The feds are very political. Yeah. So everybody has a shot caller, and a lot of them have to report to SIS. What's going on with your people?
That's right. Right. So when you talk about what's going on with the people, and we're trying to understand this, what it's like in jails and in prisons, what are some things that we're talking about as far as effectively managing special populations? And what I mean by that, this favoritism that's going on in these situations that people are in when they're behind bars or in jail.
What favoritism?
I was wondering if we could explain that, if there is any case of that going on, like within the system, right? Certain gang members getting favoritism, maybe by the correctional officers and things like that. Maybe having access.
Probably because they tell it.
Right.
You know who the hardest people that are treated in the prison system, in the federal system? They treat us worse than they treat anybody. They always looking at the DC dudes because the DC dudes are always up to something. That's not favoritism. They always looking at so-called DC blacks. When I hit the compound in Marion Penitentiary, I was walking down the hallway, and one of the correctional officers, old timer, stopped me and wanted to pat me down. I said, man, I ain't got nothing. Oh, where you from? What's your number? So I give him my number. Oh, you one of them DC blacks. What the f is a DC black? Because I came in after that crew. I came in after them. I didn't know what a DC black was. I'm a man. I'm an individual. I'm a single individual. But I got my homies. But I'm a single individual. But you just put me with a crew. You just labeled me. But you got some of them ABs and Mexican mafias and all these other dudes. Oh, they'll slide a little note under the door. Or you need to watch so-and-so. You need to watch them guys there. I done seen that shit happen. So they get special privileges. You understand? If you want to talk about special privileges, if I drop a note, I'm going to get special privileges. If I'm telling you, I'm going to get special privileges. And hopefully you won't come and tell them that I told you about what they doing.
And then you got times where you might be locked up in Illinois. The guys from Illinois gonna get some preferential treatment because they in their backyard. They're supposed to have most of the TV. They're supposed to have the best spots on the yard. They're supposed to have the best spots in the movie theater views in places like Atlanta, Leavenworth. People have those movie theaters. They're supposed to have the best, what's considered the best in that institution because they're in their backyard.
They home.
And they're supposed to fight for that and hold that down. But a lot of times it can be overtaken.
Can it? Can it? Because most joints we went in, we took that.
We didn't have nothing.
We took what we got and earned it.
What is the likelihood of the population in jails that are in solitary confinement, and is that considered cruel and unusual punishment?
I was in Talladega, Alabama, 772 days for stabbing a guy. I was a young kid, 18, 19 years old. He made a move on me. I'm fresh, young guy, never been locked up before. He tried his hand. I was messing with the Cubans. It was about 8 of us from DC came down there on a ride, and they shipped us all out to different places. So I told my Cuban brother, he was in the science with me at the time. He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I can't. No, you can't let him get away with that. You cannot let him get away with that." So I handled that, and I did 772 days in a hole. During that time, prison was so-called what I would say sweet, because we can come out of our cell, we go to the library for half an hour, go outside for half an hour. They fed us good. They had our laundry, did our laundry for us. Then I had my man. He was sending me cigarettes and coffee wrapped up in my sheets and my blankets and stuff. It's lonely though. I mean, it's miserable. You talking about people committing suicide or thinking about suicide? Go in the hole. Go in the hole. You're alone, and the correctional officers don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about you before you go in there, but they really don't care about you when you're in there. That's a completely another world in solitary.
And the difference between solitary confinement and what you call special housing is when you're in special housing, what they call the shoe, you're back there with other people who got in trouble on the compound. So you're on a tier with 50, 75 men and they have cellies. And, they're running up and down the tier, hollering up and down the tier, throwing stuff on, sliding them the door, kites and everything, we call fishing, make a line and throw them underneath the door, and everybody works as a community to get that whatever it is they send it down the road to that door. But solitary confinement, you don't have no human contact. You don't come out that cell for nothing. You don't even have sheets and things like that because they don't want you to kill yourself and things like that. So a lot of times it's gonna be cold in the cell. They're gonna feed your food to those tray slot. It's gonna be a lot of times you might have just a bucket or maybe a toilet that doesn't work that you gotta do a number 1 and number 2 in. But these are the type of conditions that you are in when an individual cannot be controlled. So they call themselves trying to break you. And sometimes you make a worse monster. Sometimes you do break that individual, but a lot of men that go in there, you don't break them. You make it worse of a monster. So because they come out angry, they focus on one thing. So when the time is up, oh man, they come out of there and they, woe to the officers. A lot of times it's not on the fellow inmates and things of that manner, unless it's a certain type of enemy. But other than that, that's all I want on the CO. You put me back here, you try to make me suffer. Nah, the type of books that you sitting here for me to read, whether I like them or not, I read it.
Had to read it.
And sometimes you had to read it in order to keep some sanity. And then sometimes you have men that make imaginary friends because we're sociable beings. We got to interact with other humans.
For me, that was the worst part of being in solitary confinement, and I was only in solitary confinement for about a week, a little bit less than actually, but I wasn't given books. So that 24 hours a day, and you're supposed to be out, an hour or something like that, but I was never let out at all during that time. So the rules of solitary confinement and the rules generally aren't necessarily followed. Not every right that a prisoner has is emphatically enforced. So it's a whole different atmosphere inside of a jail or prison. And like you guys said, solitary is its own entire world. So I remember sleeping on just the concrete, like an elevated portion that is where the mat would have been, and that would have been your bed. But instead, they took away the mat, and there was only a large block of concrete to sleep
Called
on.
a slab.
A slab, yeah. And the metal toilet and everything else is concrete inside. And you may have bars. I had a giant metal door that would always slam shut, and I knew with finality that I was going to be stuck in solitary confinement. And it's just absolutely horrific. I mean, you asked whether it's torture, and Mr. Register spoke about how the social nature of our species, right? We are, by definition, a very social species. And one of the worst forms of one of the worst forms of punishment that societies have enacted over the thousands of years of development that humans have undergone over the last few thousand years since agriculture has been excommunication, right? Mm-hmm. That's been one of the worst. That's always been the terminal punishment that a community, that a lawful, or that a civilized community is willing to enact upon its members. It usually is not death, but it's usually excommunication. It just means that you and I are no longer friends. We're no longer community members. We're no longer related. And when I see you, I'll look away. When I see you, I won't talk to you. You won't be able to talk to me. And that's what solitary confinement is, but in a much more miserable environment.
So let me give you an example. When I went to the feds, and when the funds for DC inmates ran out, Sheriff Fred Kelly was mayor. I came back and I went to Florida. When I got off the bus, there was a lieutenant there that used to be a sergeant at the jail. I had an altercation with him before I went to the feds. When I came back, he was a lieutenant, and they put me in what is called a sally port.
Tell me what a sally port is.
They put you in the sally port. It's about 5 cells. Nothing in them but concrete. I was in the dark. I took a shower with shackles and handcuffs on. I had no communication with nobody but myself. I was my best friend and worst enemy. Plus, I was suicidal. So I suffer from manic depressive and post-traumatic stress disorder. You're going to put me in not a cage, but a steel door, nothing but concrete, and it's cold. And you leave me there from December 9th to December the 26th. That was my Christmas present. I get to come out. And I've been gone for a long time, but this man still held something against me and punished me for it. How do you think I felt when I came out the hole? And then in regards to you saying that you were in the hole for a few days, did you read your toothpaste and your deodorant bottle?
That's a great point. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's a great point.
I've read mine plenty of times. Plenty of times. The toothpaste,
Sure.
I've read it.
Sodium
Wow.
monophosphate.
The ingredients and all that's on there. Yeah, well, the daily dosage of it.
Yes.
Right.
I found something to read.
Yeah, that's the.
If I gotta read everything that people wrote on the walls,
Yep.
To keep your mind.
yes.
Right. So that brings me to the idea of, these myths and these factual things about if I go into the correctional system, if I go to prison, if I go to jail, I can just keep my head down and I'll be okay, right? Is that a myth?
So I mean, it's unrealistic. There's no way in the world, and we're not talking about actually walking around with your head down all day. It's more like minding your business,
Which is a good idea generally.
yeah, because there's a lot that goes on.
Yeah.
And I can speak for myself. When I was in, and I did 27. I didn't do mine the conventional way. I didn't get with all that was going on in prison. Okay, I may have played basketball with the guys. I may have worked out with the guys, but I was going to church and I was programming because I wasn't trying to stay in there for the rest of my life. And I said, if the time ever comes that I get a chance to go home, I'm gonna be sane, man. You ain't gonna be able to tell me I'm unfit society. I come out here, I'm burnt out. I can't even relate to my kids or to my family members and everything because all I know is prison.
Want to go back
and want to go back because I don't fit in out here. I won't get like that. So I made sure that I was doing things that need to be done in order to keep a mind that would be for society. Now, I knew how to relate and interact and do what needed to be done. And bid, as Joseph said earlier, I know how to do my bid. And I knew how to not to cross the line when it comes, the prison rules, the rules and the unwritten rules. Knew not to cross those lines, but at the same time, it was a conscious effort every day. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna come out this cell. I'm gonna do what need to be done. I'm not gonna get caught up in the BS. Sometimes you gotta swallow some humble pie, because once you open up that door to violence, you start putting work in. You got to keep on putting it in, and you might get shipped to another institution. But before you even get to the other institution, they already know. Hey man, hey home, take care of Charlie when he come there, man, because you put that work in over here, man. We don't like that. So they waiting for you to come through R&D, which the receiving and discharging, they're waiting on you. So and when I say waiting on you, they're waiting on you with them blades, with them knives, with them shanks, whatever you want to call them. So you got to put work in again. Sometimes on the good end, sometimes on the bad end.
Yeah, were you trying to add to that, Mr. Smith, about the myths and the facts about minding your own business and trying to keep your head down?
These guys know way more than I do, but I found it a useful strategy to keep your head down, just as a general rule. But what does that really mean? Yeah, it doesn't mean a lot because we're on top of one another. We're in a confined space with lots of other people, and there's a fair amount of interaction. So eventually, you meet everybody, or at least I would always, at a meeting, just about everybody, and so you can keep your head down, but you're not going to be, at least in jail, you're not going to be able to be completely asocial unless you're in solitary confinement. Eventually, you're always going to end up talking to somebody.
Yep.
But it's just about making smart alliances and, not taking anybody's food, not taking anybody's commissary. It's very simple rules of civility are powerfully enforced. Like that was my experience with jail rules. I'm used to basic rules of civility, how a person eats at a table, manners, cleanliness, civility in speaking with another individual, the way I bring something to somebody else's knowledge. Do I do it in an accusatory way where I put this man on the defensive, or do I approach him with the respect that a man deserves who's in my confined space with me and we have to live together? Do I treat him, do I come at him that way, even if he and I are having a conflict? So it takes a great deal of effort and restraint to avoid violence, but it can be done. And I think, keeping your head down and just not being the loud guy, not being the outlier, just kind of fitting in.
It's called
Humble.
So when I went to Marion, they assigned me to my room, my cell. And during this time, GDs, the Gangster Disciples, were beefing with the DC guys. Unfortunately, my room was assigned to one of the GDs' rooms. There was two GDs, and they were going to put me in that room. They said they didn't want me in that room. But I don't know nothing about the TV. No problem. I'll go to the hole. But fortunately, one of my homeboys, one of the guys out of DC was there. And the four of us went to correctional officer. It's not going to be a good idea for Mr. Washington to move in with us because of so-and-so and so-and-so. And my homie said, well, you can come on and move with me. And after that little small incident, I got a rapport with them two dudes. Because I treated them with respect. I said, I don't want no problem. I'm in the penitentiary. I'm one of the top penitentiaries in the United States. I don't want no problems. Especially the GDs outnumber us anyway, which don't really matter. But they outnumber.
Yeah, they didn't.
Don't make no difference.
Right.
Got
30
stories
of them,
about that.
5 of us. But it was a respect thing. Cool. I understand. So I moved, and after that, I never had a problem with them before. They didn't look down on me. They didn't come at me. They didn't say anything out the way to me. They treated me with respect too. Then they got to like me because of the things I was doing. You understand? I got to start teaching. I played volleyball. I played basketball. I played bocce. You understand? I socialized with people. Once I stopped doing the things I was doing as a youngster and became a man in there, I learned how to respect man and treat man the way I want to be treated.
That's huge. Respect it goes a long way, and that's a transferable skill that we all need to nurture and develop. Can you talk about the fact that, like you said, when you were your younger self, what you learned then as opposed to what you know now, as far as that respect?
I don't have to have my boots outside the shower when I take a shower anymore. At one time, we used to have a guy watch us while we took a shower. You had your boots outside the shower door. You got 1 or 2 guys watching 2 or 3 guys take a shower because we didn't want nobody to come get us while we were in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Or when you go to the bathroom, you got one leg in, one leg out because you never know when you're going to go to war. When I first went in after that incident in Talladega, Alabama, I had a few other incidents. I was young. I was dumb. I didn't care. I didn't want to go home. I didn't see daylight. Unlike Mr. Register, he was focused. I was not. I ran away from home when I was 14 years old. I've been on my own. Okay. I was street, and then I became prison. I didn't care about me, nobody else. Nobody. I did not care. I attempted suicide 3-4 times. I didn't care. I wanted to die. But once I started learning and getting some type of education, and what I mean, that's through books. You understand? And going to like JCs and Toastmasters and different meetings and started getting in tune with myself. I calmed down. After 2012, I had not been in a fight or anything. I learned to treat sex offenders also. Hey, how you doing? I speak to them and I keep on going about my business. You understand? Right. Because they're human beings too. Mm-hmm. I treat people the way I want to be treated. So I learned how to get respect and treat you with respect. You Muslim, I'm not going to sit at your table with a plate of pork.
Right.
You understand? Just like out here in society, I'm not going to do anything to disrespect you. You understand? Because I don't want you to disrespect me. I want to be treated on the same level that I want you to treat me.
Okay, so with that being said, there seems like there is this undercurrent or this pushback with people who want to create fights, right? And start unnecessary arguments or become confrontational. But you're all in the same place, right? You're all in prison. You're all in jail. How do you work through that?
That was me. I was hurting inside. That was me. I was hurt. I gave up on myself. I was hurting this. I didn't care. You get that? I don't care.
Right.
And you got guys that are like that. They waiting for the opportunity to come so they can do something. They waiting for you to step on their foot, touch something that belonged to them, move their tray over a little bit, anything, so they can go off because they have no hope.
So that seems to be a persistent value, right? Those who have been there behind bars, have nowhere to go, not trying to get out. They feel like they own the house, right? They feel like they can do it. They run the yard, basically. No
question about that. This is where they're going to be at.
Right.
And we talking about, more so not ADXs because they're confined to a cell, but we talking about penitentiary. We say penitentiary, we talking about highs. You got a high, you have a medium, what they call FCIs, you have lows, and then you have camps. Camps, they got one foot out the door, one foot in, and they're going out to work out in the street, and they're coming back, all types of stuff.
You're talking about security, high security.
High security. So when we're talking about high security, we're talking about individuals who, if they don't have life, they might as well have life because they got lengthy sentences. Right. So you're talking about putting 1,500 men on one compound, everybody got the same thing forever. So
you've already committed a crime, so it's like I'm already here behind bars. What more can you do to me? So
this becomes home.
Home.
Home. You don't know anything else. Cells become house. I'm about to go to my house.
Yes.
The compound becomes street. Man, they fight out there on the street. You think they're talking about street like out here, like 12 and you. No, they're talking about on the north side of the compound. That's out there on the street. Man, so phone call. That means not an actual phone call because nobody can call in. They talking about somebody at the door calling your name. So everything that you would consider home, that you would do on the street, you're doing it in prison now because you become institutionalized. You have become part of your environment because you're not going anywhere. So we talk about all types of stuff. You know what I mean? Even the men who start messing with the boys mean the homosexuals. They say that's my woman.
That's my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they actually have wedding ceremonies. They'll buy wedding bands off dudes who got locked up because they try to get some drugs. Or man, they say just let me get that because it's a piece of gold. Any piece of jewelry we can get, we still want to look fly.
Well, let me
so
just
to get
that.
Let me get
that.
And you see when you see the handle of the knife, we call nice pistols. I got my pistol on me. I got my burner on me. It's a knife. But we equating these same things if we had on the street in prison. So the TV, that's my TV. This is my spot. I eat right here. I go right here at this such time of the day. Man, you violate. You know I come here right now, so I got to see you because now you disrespect me because you know I come here at this time every day.
Yeah.
Don't sit in my seat. I don't care if I'm out there on the wreck yard. This is my seat.
That's my spot.
Yeah. Don't, You better not put it there, and I will fight you for it.
That's exactly what.
And everybody knows about it. So when you are when you have come determined that you are doing life or a lengthy sentence, this is home, and you gonna carry it as such.
This is home, and you're going to carry it as such. So, is it true that the correctional facilities that we are talking about, jails and prisons, has any type of rehabilitation on a person, whether spiritually, physically, or mentally?
By who?
Not
by the institution or by the men that's in.
Either way.
Not coming from the institution. Go tell them, Joe. Go tell them.
Rehabilitation.
Right. That's what we're talking about.
That's
here.
what I'm asking.
Right. Yeah, that's
because there is none.
Right.
There is none. They didn't prepare me to come back out in society. I wanted to stay in there. They didn't prepare me nothing to come out here.
I hear you.
Nothing. I came out here with nothing.
You were one of the guys who wanted to go back. I mean, I find that very fascinating, and that's worth exploring. You, after a lengthy prison sentence, were out and free. You actually wanted to go back.
I called a Spanish dude named Hector that I was locked up with. I called him and said, I cried and said, man, I want to go back. I want to go back. Him and his wife came and picked me up. I stayed over their house that night. I got twisted. But I stayed over there with them because he didn't want me to go back. No, man, you don't need to go back. But I wanted to go back. I didn't want to come out.
Why did you want to go back?
There's nothing out here for me. That was my frame of mind.
Right.
That's my frame of mind. My mother died 30 days before I came home. I was in the hole before I came home. Right. I came home from the hole. I had nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing.
What did you exit prison with?
$3,600.
To start an entire new life without housing, without clothing, without a vehicle, without sufficient education for many jobs.
Nothing. My mother died, left me and my brother and my sister some money. So her wishes was for my sister, and I love her, to hold mine and issue mine. Don't give it to him at one time is what my mother said. Because I'm going to blow it. So my sister issued.
Because you've struggled with alcohol in the past, is that right?
I am a recovering alcoholic.
Okay.
I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been an alcoholic since the age of 7.
So you're prone to, when you're drinking, go on sprees and spend that money. So that's why.
It on me and everybody that's with me.
Right.
We're going to get
have a good
drunk.
time.
We're going to get drunk.
Right.
Every day, all day.
Until it's out. You're out of money.
Cigarettes, money, and whatever you like to do, I'm going to get that for you too. That was me. That was me all the way up until last year. I get a couple $100 in my pocket. All of us going to go out and have a good time. I'm going to buy you what you want, you what you want, you what you want, you what you want. I'm going to get me what I want. You enjoy yours, I'm going to enjoy mine. So when I came home, I went to ROC, which is the Returning and Sanction Center by DC Jail. I stayed there for 24 days. From there, I went to KEG. From KEG, I went to Emory. From Emory, I went to La Casa. From La Casa, I went to my wife. From my wife put me out. I went to the street. I went back to my wife. I went back to the street. It's been a revolving door for me. Programs and the streets. Until I came here. Actually, until I came here.
So it seems like in prisons and jail, to our experience and what we're talking about, there really is a lack of rehabilitation and more so recidivism.
Bruh, sir, I didn't know any. There are so many programs that are offered that they are supposed to tell us about. They're supposed to direct us into this. I didn't know anything. I wasn't given nothing but an inmate ID card when I came home. That's all I had. And the stuff that I had when I was in a hole. The stuff I wanted to keep. Everything else I left. But that's what I had. Nothing. I came home my first day out of the program. I took a bus from Congress Heights Station. I'm supposed to go see my parole officer. I wind up in Virginia. I didn't even know how to take the bus or the train. I took a bus one day from Congress Heights. I wound up at Shaw subway station. I came up and didn't know where I was at. I didn't have no guidance when I came home. None. I had nothing. I didn't know about these programs. Nobody told me nothing. It's like I don't care. Put him in the street and let him survive on his own.
Not only that, back when he went to the feds, they had vocational programs. Plumbing, HVAC, electrician, and, the barber program.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go correspondence with college classes.
Yes.
You can take those type of things. But as the years went on, it was like, we got to cut the money. We got to cut the money. We got to cut the money. They're not cutting what they're making. They're cutting our program.
Yes.
And things that mean. So, and nothing is listed. So now, especially these days and times, now you got the only thing that's offered to you now is GED.
So what's the difference between privatized prisons versus publicly funded prisons?
Privatized prison, the individual says, hey, I want to be a part of this lucrative business they got going on, and I'm going to get with the state and get a contract, or I'll get with the feds, I'm going to get a contract, and I'm going to build this 25-man institution and allow the feds put their people in there, or allow the state to put them people in there.
And they can kill each other while they're at it.
I mean, that's gonna go on whether it's a private prison or not.
You talking about those CCAs that was out?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So that brings us to this part of the conversation. How do family members and extended, people that you want to keep in contact with while you're behind bars have access to you while you're in the jail or prison?
Right. I'll call you.
15. You get 300 minutes a month.
Can you tell us about some of those stories?
What, writing people?
And talking to outside people outside the
only person I talked to was my mother and my grandmother. That's it. No one else.
Right.
The only ones that love you, those ones gonna be there for you. You can write 100 family members.
Mama gonna be there.
I mean, you might have 5. The ones that really loved you before you went in, the same ones are gonna love you while you're in. It's not a whole lot.
Mama,
Yeah, that's very true.
So that's why I have an issue with a lot of these young men today that are throwing rocks at the door, at the bar, at the prison. You're throwing the rocks up there, but you ain't respecting your mama. That's who's gonna be there for you. When you hit that, no, that's my baby. She's gonna come. That's why you need to respect that while you got that. You better love and cherish it while you have it. I lost mine. It hurt. I didn't have a chance to apologize to my mother for the hurt I caused her. She died before I could see her and apologize to her. I feel about that. I have issues with that. I lost contact with my mother. She died before I came home. And you don't know how much that hurt. So I'm doing what I do today in memory of her. That woman. Because if it wasn't for her prayers and my grandmother's prayers, I wouldn't be here today.
And a lot of times, it's the only phone number that we remember when we're on the inside, because it's not like the old days where we memorized the phone numbers of our family and friends and so forth. Our attorney, right? Everything is on our phone contact list now, so I don't get a lot of access to that in jail. I was given access to my phone one time for about 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds to get 1 or 2 numbers. And I saw the correctional officer do the same thing for other people in intake. So you might be able to get a couple phone numbers written down, but the one that'll be committed to memory will be mom, probably.
And you better hope when you go that you get a spot to get on the phone. Because
right. Yes. Because nothing's guaranteed.
No, it's not guaranteed you're going to use that phone.
Right. I hope you know
So
somebody got that note down.
What?
Right.
Hey, home, there's our phone over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate to shut it down, y'all. We are 45 minutes in, and man, we having a good time talking. I mean, I hope the Black Table Talk family out there, they feeling what's been going on, and we're gonna come back with another episode of this, man, because it's a lot of content that need to be shared that hadn't been shared.
Thank you, Mr. Washington for being here with us today too.
Yeah. This is the National Reentry Network for Returning Citizens, Black Table Talk Edition, man, and we are getting it in. We got to sign out, but we never signing off because there's always work to be done here. So y'all have a good night, y'all have a good day, and tune in next time.